We have Kansas City, Missouri's Mayor Quinton Lucas live on the phone, who is in Washington, D.C. this morning. Mayor Lucas, thank you for taking your time to talk to us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, and I take back the good part. It's very difficult. Here we are again, and I feel that you most likely feel the way that so many of us do. We're waking up another morning, another mass shooting, and this time in Kansas City.
Well, it's troubling. I'm in Washington, going to the White House today with Kansas City's police chief, other police leaders and mayors, as we talk about gun violence in America. And I got here last night, did not expect to get the news that I saw over the evening about the shooting and just the dramatic Wild West type behavior we continue to see on the streets of Kansas City. And I attribute two sources to it primarily. One, there are people in our community who act with impunity. We had off-duty police officers who were there. We had security guards who were there. And there are still people shooting back and forth at each other a few feet away from police officers. The second point is the ready and available access of firearms. And this is not to say that we're looking to take guns from lawful firearms owners, but it's a troubling thing in our society when it's easier to get a gun, particularly an assault weapon, rather than getting a therapist. And we continue to see, I think, these issues again and again on the streets of Kansas City outside entertainment districts. Last week, the conversation was the Power and Light District. This week, it's Westport. Where next? And it's not just in Kansas City. No, that's why I think we continue to need to make differences and changes.
Well, and on that note, Mayor Lucas, you are in Washington, D.C., as you said, to talk about really historic gun legislation, if you want to look at it that way. It's been, three decades, coming. But is it enough? And is it enough given the morning that we're having here, the mornings that we've seen recently in other communities, and that we fear we may see in other communities or our own in the future?
It's not. It's not. And, people always ask me, well, then what do you want? I want things to be like they were actually when I was growing up in Kansas City in the 1990s. You actually had to get a concealed carry permit, which lots of people got them. But through that permit, you saw that you had some level of training and you had a reason to be carrying the firearm. Now, when the police see suspected bad guys who have a gun, particularly if they don't have warrants or they don't have a prior felony conviction, you can't stop them, you can't ask them, and you can't take the gun off the streets. I've done ride-alongs with the police where they talk about seeing people with weapons in their cars and Westport or other entertainment districts, people walking around with them, and you can't stop and investigate. These tools are a threat to our community, whether you're somebody who's a police officer, whether you're somebody who's just going out for a drink some evening. And so I'd like to see us go back to that at a time when we could at least ask questions, make sure people weren't just walking around with firearms, particularly unpermitted ones.
Mayor, will you have the opportunity to talk specifically about what we're going through here in Kansas City after this Westport shooting today at the White House?
I will, and I look forward to sharing the fact that while we're talking about these issues, this is something that is facing my community literally every day. We report the homicides, but there are roughly 500 plus people shot in Kansas City each year. If you amplify that around the metro area, our suburbs, KCK and beyond, this is thousands of people impacted by gun violence on the daily. Reasonable, common sense reform of gun laws is important for us long term, and making sure, of course, that those who are assailants find their way into prison. But, the thing that astonishes me, and I'll finish with this, people that are willing to shoot back and forth at each other, who aren't scared of death, aren't scared of jail time, that is a tough population that we're trying to convince to put down the guns. But we'll keep working.
It is. And Mayor, I do have one more question. We report the numbers. You yourself just mentioned 500 plus shootings in KCMO alone every year. These are numbers, but I know these are people, not just the victims, not just the people who lose their lives, but we talk to grieving mothers every day. There are siblings who then have to live the rest of their lives. Also the people who are committing these crimes, their families, their lives forever altered. I think that's something that, I'll ask you, is that something that we need to keep in mind when we look at the numbers?
We do. I think we become desensitized to the number because let's be honest, if you hear 4 people shot at the Power and Light District last week, 6 people shot in Westport, you start to just see it as numbers. You're not thinking about recovery. You're not thinking about community impact. You're not thinking about kids not growing up with certain parents in their home.
Right.
I mean, these are the sorts of things that create this cyclical violence. And one of the things that frustrates me the most is that it was like this, the last generation in Kansas City was like that before. We have to redouble our efforts to make sure we're stopping that cycle because we have a wonderful place to live. But gun violence, I think, is our greatest challenge, and we continue to see it this morning.
Kansas City, Missouri Mayor Quinton Lucas, we know that, as always, you are busy. We appreciate you taking time, especially as you are in Washington, D.C. with a big day ahead, to talk to us. And we look forward to hearing about your visit to the White House, specifically on this gun control legislation when you return, Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.